Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. It's me, your host, John Green. I'm the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers. We're playing Birmingham City. We're probably going to get our butts handed to us just to prepare you. And today I'm going to talk to you about Hollywood and why the movie rights to The Fault in Our Stars have not been sold or made available. I'm making this video in the past, so there's always the small chance that has happened and I'll be made a hypocrite. But we'll see. There's John Green, Nay Bennett shaking hands with the referee, whose name is Chris Mumple, in an apparent parody of English names. Mumple. Oh God, I'm just thinking of the person who has the surname Mumple, who's watching this video right now and whose feelings are hurt. I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Mumple. I think it's great that English names are so English. So the movie rights to all of my previous books have sold. None of those movies have actually been made, which, as I've talked about before, is fine by me. I think that there is something really special to a movie. I mean, to a book that is never made into a movie because the book is able to have a life of its own and outside of the sort of overpoweringly visual medium of film. And so it doesn't bother me at all. That said, I haven't always had the best experiences with in Hollywood, and like a lot of writers, or particularly a lot of novelists, I think I haven't always felt terribly comfortable with what was being done with my books, and I have chosen for a variety of reasons. Not to be very aggressive in going out with the movie rights to The Fault in Our Stars. Now that said, if the right opportunity presents itself and the right people are involved and it's something that I think could be really great, then I would feel differently. But it's just not a huge priority to me. And so I wanted to talk about that and then also a little bit about why Paper Towns will probably never be made into a movie. Great save there by Ricardo the Bunsen Berna. He's the Burninator. You just got like a second-degree burn from the Burninator. I was hired to write a screenplay for Paper Towns. A nice company named Mr. Mudd optioned the movie rights. That's a first-degree burner. A nice company named Mr. Mudd optioned the movie rights with this corporation Mandate, who produces a lot of movies. They just produced Young Adult, and also, for instance, they did 50-50, a really good movie. So they optioned the book and paid me to write a screenplay, which was really exciting. Oh, Leroy Williamson! Oh! He scores occasionally, but he didn't score that time. He had a very narrow window, and he just couldn't do it. Wow, that could have, how epic would that have been? I wrote the screenplay. The people at the movie company, at the studio, weren't particularly happy with it. They thought it was too literary, which is a very humorous insult to me, because where I come from, that's, a good thing. And in the end, they wanted me to make changes that I didn't want to make, and it got a little acrimonious. There were some fights about whether or not I had done the work that they had hired me to do, and yada, yada, yada. And one of the things that I learned was I made a video. You might have seen the Swoodly Poopers video I recently made about Hank and I's business principles. And one of those business principles that I didn't talk about in that video, boy, was that a hard foul, is I can't say what Hank and I say because it involves a curse word. But it's basically own the things that you make. And I didn't own the thing. And when you work in Hollywood, you don't own the thing that you're making. The people at the movie company own it. So in some ways, you have to do the things they want you to do because you don't own the thing. And that was a very uncomfortable position for me to be in. Wow, that was not a great save there by the Burninator. And I don't want to be in that position again. It wasn't fun. And also, when you make something, obviously a lot of people are going to be involved in the making of it, and their voices should be important and should be heard, but ultimately it needs to be your thing. You need to own it. And so that's another problem, or not problem, but it's just another reason why it's not a priority for me to work in Hollywood, is that because there's so much money involved, it becomes very difficult to own your stuff. and I'm not totally comfortable with that. Um, so the Paper Towns movie experience was really instructive for me because I had everything that I thought I wanted. I had an opportunity to write the script so I could have a say in the process. Oh, that was not a good pass. I had I had a really nice team of people around me who were good people who've made really good movies that I really loved, and even then, it just kind of wasn't enough. It just wasn't, it wasn't the situation that I really wanted for myself, and or for the book. I mean, you know, that was too much. Yeah, sorry. I apologize to my fans and to my family and to my brother for letting me share his video game channel when I'm so bad. Hey, look, we're tied, and at this point, 1 point is a great point. I know that this isn't the most exciting stuff to watch. You don't get to see 7 goals a game, but we've just got to stay up in the Premier League, and hopefully we'll do better next season. So we're really, I mean, we're fighting against relegation. We don't want to go back to the Championship because that wasn't fun. We'd score more goals, but, it wasn't fun. So, so here in the second half, I want to talk about the movie rights to The Fault in Our Stars. People have contacted us and been interested, and it just hasn't been the right. At this point, I'm very, very picky. I've had because there's always most of the time they're not going to make the movie, which is fine. Again, to emphasize that, fine by me. But sometimes they will, and the worst thing that could possibly happen would be if I hated the movie, and then I had to go out and represent this movie that was made from a book that I really cared about and spent a lot of time on, and this book in particular is very personal to me, and it's very, very hard for me to imagine handing over. God, is that a penalty or something? Oh, devastation. It's very hard for me to imagine handing over control of this story to someone and not having a say in how it gets made, because it's so personal to me, because I spent so long writing it, because in some ways this is the book that I was trying to write all along. Like, this is the book that I was trying to write, and then I ended up writing. Oh, ball, John Green can't finish. Oh, the devastation. I mean, it's just so hard at the skill level against this kind of opposition. Oh, it's frustrating. All right. Anyway, we'll get there, guys. We're going to get better. Don't worry. It's really hard for me to imagine a situation where I would be excited to hand that over. That said, I would love for a beautiful movie to be made out of The Fault in Our Stars. I just think it's really hard to do because, the truth is people don't want to watch movies like The Fault in Our Stars. I mean, The Fault in Our Stars is a funny book, I think, but it's also at times quite a serious book, and that's not really the kind of movie that people are into watching these days. They want to watch like The Dark Knight Returns with the crazy special effects and everything. This is not really a lot of like robots or no Transformers in this movie. So I just when it gets to the point where when it gets to the point of the movie actually being made, they've got to find a way for not like 1 million or 5 million, but 10 million people to see it. And when you make something that has to appeal to 10 million people, that is such a broad audience. That's like such an outlandishly broad group of people that have to like your thing, that have to want to pay $10 or $11 to go see your thing. It's just really, really hard to make something that that's within the spirit of the book. And so you see over and over again movies that are very good evocations of the book. Like I think of the movie for Into the Wild. That's a very good, very sort of faithful adaptation of its material. And it was kind of a fun movie to watch in its way. But it wasn't, to me, it wasn't as enjoyable as the book, A, and B, that movie did terribly at the box office, because it was a faithful adaptation. That's precisely why it failed. And so it's hard to imagine, I don't care about people getting, like, the plot elements of the story into a movie, but I do care about people getting the the meaning of the story, you know, the tone of the story, the reason for the story into a movie. And that's actually very, very hard to do and still have it appeal to that wide of an audience. Like, I don't have to appeal to that wide of an audience because I'm not trying to make, you know, $100 million from a book. I'm trying to, you know, write the best book possible, and I'm really fortunate that the book business is such that, you know, you can have a much, much smaller audience and still, you know, pay for diapers for your kid. So when you get out to that level of exposure, it just becomes really hard to do it well. And so if you don't see The Fault in Our Stars on the big screen, don't be mad at me, I hope. It's because I was trying to preserve the integrity of that experience of reading the story. So another 0-0 draw. I'm sorry, I haven't scored a goal for you in 2 games. I'm trying. Hopefully my commentary is interesting because the games sure aren't. Ginger Rampage congratulating John Green, Nay Bennett. Frankly, every point in the Barclays Premier League is a point that we are happy to have. We did almost score here, but alas, we didn't finish. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Best wishes.